Hi everyone, my name is Jamie McLean and this is my video blog on informed consent for COUC 501 Module 3. In searching the internet, I looked for an informed consent for an individual or practice here in South Carolina. The name of the counseling services that I have chosen is Dogwood Counseling LLC. There is one counselor located in this practice and his name is Reeves Howard. The informed consent form I pulled from his website is 5 pages long. I immediately looked to compare the information in his consent for treatment and professional disclosure statement to that of the American Counseling Association Code of Ethics and the State of South Carolina's Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation Board of Examiners for licensure of professional counselors, marriage and family therapists, addiction counselors, and psychoeducational specialists. The South Carolina Department of Labor Regulations did not go as in-depth as the American Counseling Association when it came to informed consent. So for this video blog, I will refer to the ACA standards. According to the ACA 2014 subsection 8.2b, there are a few guidelines that must be met by professional counselors when disclosing information and requesting information from their clients. These are, but not limited to, purpose and goals of counseling, limitations, potential risks from counseling, credentials and qualifications of the counselor, approach the counselor will be taking during services, cost of services, if using technology, the extent to which the technology will be used, procedures for non-payment, client's right to confidentiality, and in case of emergency or death of the counselor, what steps will be taken next. The informed consent form I found from Dogwood Counseling starts off by listing contact information and discussing the most confidential form of communication with the professional. According to Reeves Howard's website, the form of communication that is best to be used is the telephone. This way that it protects information from text messages and emails that could be shared with anyone but the client. The form then goes on to list the credentials for Reeves Howard. He is a licensed professional counselor and a licensed professional counselor supervisor by the state of South Carolina. He lists his education and credentials and ongoing advances in his education. His areas of expertise are listed and he works with children 4 years and older and adults. He lists the Code of Ethics organization standards that he follows from the State of South Carolina Board of Examiners and the American Counselor Association. When it comes to confidentiality and the right to privacy, he discloses that there are certain circumstances where a judge may court order records, but generally information is kept private. He states that he must break confidentiality when a threat of suicide, harm to another person, suspicion of child or elder abuse, or neglect. The client themselves may request information to be shared with somebody else, or a parent requests information about their minor child's treatment. When counseling with other professionals' identities, he will be keeping their names a secret. He will use code names and things that will make sure that they're not represented at all to keep them protected. In case of emergency, he does say that he has a list of clients' names and phone numbers, and they will be informed by a representative who has no other information. He lists his fees and that he does not file through insurance, but will provide the information needed to make your own claim. He has a cancellation policy that is included along with emergency situation policy. At the end of his form, he discusses that therapy is just as challenging and as rewarding, and that sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. He ends it by stating that therapy is not always successful. In comparison to the requirements for the ACA, I believe he hits on all the major points in his consent form, aside from discussing the goals and approach. He does state in his consent form that if you have questions regarding his approach in training, that it is okay to ask those during your session. He does not really state that the individual has the right to leave his practice at any time, but that is a part of the ACA standards. Although it is well written and most of the areas were included, I think that he could add information about if it's not working out, the client does have the right to leave his practice, and he needs to add information about the kind of approach that he takes, especially if your consent form is available prior to your appointment. Why not give your client that information ahead of time? That way they can make the best decision for them. And thank you all so much for watching my video, and I wish you best of luck this term.